Hey everyone, welcome to a video on types of economies. Today we're going to discuss about the three different types of economies, which is the market economy, the planned economy, and the mixed economies. So let's dive into them. The first one is market economy. Adam Smith, who was the forefather of capitalist thinking, his assumption was that humans were self-serving by nature, but that as long as every individual were to seek fulfillment of his own self-interest, the material needs of the whole society would be met. So under market capitalism, private economic actors, i.e. private firms, households, enjoy a high degree of autonomy and are motivated by self-interest, with the former aiming at profit maximization and the later at utility maximization. So basically, market economy is an economy which is run solely around the market forces, which is the privatization or private sector. There is very less government intervention or government regulation, allowing the businesses to function on the as given here on the profit maximization, and the idea of Adam Smith is based around that if one individual has a self-interest, he or she would do something in the area of business enough which would provide a mutual benefit for the whole society. The best example of capitalism would be the United States, which has one of the best ease of access in terms of business. Um, a good idea of United States producing a number of businesses, whether it be in the tech industry or other industries. Um, there are some potential advantages to this type of economy, that this economy provides lucrative allowance to businesses to expand without kind of obstructing the businesses from expansion. It also allows more growth of a faster growth in terms of economic returns and um, revenue maximization and other kind of maximizations. So overall market economy has many benefits, but at the same time it has quite a few downsides, since companies focus on profit maximization, which might lead to some unnecessary um, decisions by the companies, such as exploit of labor, i.e. paying them less or um, not giving them ideal working conditions. And labor is a I'm not talking about only hard like the heavy industry labor, but even a general corporate person too. So yeah, the system is kind of a mix of both positives and negatives. You can attribute the financial crisis to such an extent to the US being a market economy and kind of not having that proper um, regulation on the Wall Street and the housing bubble. But yeah, it is an interesting concept. Moving on to planned economy, which is the command economy, is a type of system. By the way, planned economy is also known as the command economy, where the government plays the principal role in planning and regulating goods and services produced in their country. The state authority determines the types of goods and services to be produced and provided, as well as the quantity and the prices that will be offered in the marketplace. It's a very simple concept. If you have heard of Karl Marx, socialism, the concept of planned economy is majorly devised from there, where Karl Marx came after Adam Smith, and he argues that um, the kind of building on the negatives of capitalism and market economy, that there is a gap between the proletariat as given below and bourgeoisie. Proletariat is the working class, the people who are working for the businesses. Bourgeoisie are the more of the owners of the businesses. They're the wealthy people who are accused of doing malpractices of business. So the argument is that the government should play the main role in deciding, okay, we need to produce these goods, and the other types of goods are not required, so should not be a major focus. And the state determines, how these goods would be provided amongst the state, and in order to not allow the markets to price exploit the consumers, set a optimum price limit. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting concept. The best examples as given is USSR, most of Eastern Europe during the Cold War era, the 90s until the 90s. More presently, Cuba, even China. I mean, yes, China has opened up much of their capitalism kind of domain, yet they maintain a strong hold on the businesses, even if their many of the businesses are have a state backing or a strong surveillance. Even if some people who have more of a private time, they have to go through a strict state kind of regulatory management and things. So it's to a great extent planned economy, um, especially for the citizens who live in China. Yeah, it has many advantages and disadvantages. Advantages as given below, it doesn't allow to exploit workers or not cause any kind of disadvantages which we focused in market economy. It has its own disadvantages. As we have seen, the system has not opted so well. The communist countries have not been quite open about like free speech, and it is argued whether this is the type of economy flawed or is it more on the political side. In terms of focusing on economics, it is argued um, that the planned economy sometimes omits certain types of goods and services which comes under wants rather than needs, and kind of creates a gap with the consumers, with the citizens. So yeah, pretty interesting. And then we come to the mixed economy, which is a hybrid form of economy that utilizes both ethnic and non-ethnic resources and embodies formal and informal organization behavior, are spatially and ethnically unbounded. The business is not confined to general retailing, may include manufacturing, specialist retailing, and service provision for consumers as well as producers. So, mixed economy is a very dominant form of government around the world. The idea is that the government would be responsible for the provision of the necessities, as in maybe schools or hospitals, like medical, education, while the private sector would focus more on the other wants or the other areas, which might include housing. Sometimes government takes up on housing. One example could be Singapore. But yeah, I mean, maybe the pen you're buying, the government would not produce it, the state would not have responsibility, it would give it to the private sector. And they would maintain a certain amount of regulation on the private sector, but not too much to the extent where they are controlling prices and things. Example are UK, Australia, Indonesia, the whole of Southeast Asia, India. All these countries are mixed economies where you can see the private and public sector much operating together or side by side or interlocking with each other.